If you're watching any of the major network newscasts or 24-hour cable stations, you're getting nothing but a cavalcade and an onslaught of pro-Hillary propaganda. You are. Ron Fournier, who I have a piece he wrote for The Atlantic. I don't know if he, I don't know. I definitely know that he's sympathetic to liberal causes. But I don't know if he's a flaming leftist. Here's a piece in The Atlantic with the headline, "Why Can't Hillary Clinton Stop Lying?" Well, beyond the obvious reasons. He writes, the Democratic presidential nominee came off a successful convention week in Philadelphia and landed right back in hot water with another fabrication. This is a note to Clinton Democrats, a desperate plea, actually. Your candidate staged a winning convention in Philadelphia. Big stars, tight messaging, and a compelling case against her rival, Donald Trump. I'm not angry at Trump. I expect him to be repugnant. I'm angry at Clinton because she followed up her convention with another unnecessary lie. Another excuse for people to distrust her. Another thin reed upon which undecided voters could justify a belated allegiance to a man who former New York Mayor Mike Bloomberg called a dangerous demagogue. On Sunday, the former Secretary of State told Fox News' Chris Wallace that FBI Director James Comey cleared her of misleading the public about her rogue email server at the State Department. Quote, Director Comey said my answers were truthful and what I've said is consistent with what I've told the American people, that there were decisions discussed and made to classify retroactively certain of the emails. That's wrong, and she knows it, which makes it a lie. That's Fournier. That's not me. Quote, Clinton is cherry-picking statements by Comey to preserve her narrative about the unusual setup of a private email server, wrote Washington Post fact-checker Glenn Kessler, who awarded Clinton the maximum 4 Pinocchios for her whopper. Quote, this allows her to skate past the more disturbing findings of the FBI investigation. I'm angry at Clinton because I expect better. The country needs better. I say again, if Trump becomes president, the world will have Clinton to blame. Her dishonesty could push an unknown number of independent and undecided voters into Trump's camp or toward a non-major party candidate. If too many swing voters walk away from Clinton because she destroyed her credibility or because they don't want to condone her behavior, the nuclear codes go to Trump. That is why Clinton's advisors, senior Democrats, and members of the liberal media need to stop covering for Clinton. Stop repeating her spin. Stop spreading her lies. Stop enabling her worst angels. It's too late for Clinton to come clean, but honorable Democrats should at least insist she stops muddying the water. Please, for the sake of the country, tell her to stop lying. It's impossible. That's all the Clintons do. Whether it's the surface issue of landing under sniper fire, where we can all watch the video, and there's no sniper fire. She's walking with Chelsea Clinton, and there seems to be no fear, no security rushing her away. She's just wandering around the tarmac. Up to the Uranium One deal. Tyson Foods, Walmart, L'Oreal Space and Communication, Hughes Technology, and God knows how many other lies this woman has told. Again, I don't know if Julian Assange has it, but I've told you exactly what's in those transcripts for Goldman Sachs. She is promising these investment firms a seat at the table when contracts are written for infrastructure projects. They will make the right investments in equipment, materials, and contract providers, and they will see the benefits of the increase in the share prices of those companies or profits from those contracts if they buy into these companies or purchase them outright, whereas the taxpayer will be on the hook for the out-of-control spending. This is why she doesn't want you to see this. 1-866-95 Patriot 957-2874. And as far as Clinton's tax returns versus Trump's tax returns, I don't give a damn about her tax returns. I want to see where the money's coming from the Clinton Global Initiative. 1-866-95 Patriot 957-2874. Let's see. I have a bunch of other issues. One thing I want to get to before I get to calls in this hour. something you're not going to get anywhere else. And Paul Nealon is going to join us in the next segment. We are careening very, very quickly toward the primary in Wisconsin's 1st District. Paul Ryan is not engaged Paul Nealon. Just like Eric Cantor didn't engage Dave Brat. There's absolutely, positively a possibility that come next week, Paul Ryan's out. But that's only if people support Paul Nealon. I want to read something to you first, though. From the Washington Free Beacon. See, what we've created here, protected class status, and phony, absolute moral authority. And you're seeing this in this issue with the Wrath of Khan. That if you say anything about any one person, and it only applies to conservatives and Republicans and Donald Trump, you have maligned the entire group. No matter what you say. And it doesn't matter if what you're saying is an exact verbatim quote of a Democrat. It doesn't matter. It's the history of now. Forget you heard a Democrat say the exact same thing. All that matters is whether or not this can be used to fire up the outrage machine with absolutely no context. Something that's missing from all this talk of Hillary's migrant plan, beyond the costs, the billions of dollars it's going to cost to construct housing, pay for education, pay for health care, job training, things we're no longer doing for veterans. We're watching what's taking place in Germany. It's funny, I was flipping the channels with my wife the other night after we got the kids to sleep, which was a battle, but thank God we have the Casper mattresses and they sleep through the night. It's just a matter of getting them to bed. And National Lampoon's European Vacation was on IFC. And it was the scene where they're at Oktoberfest. And by the way, I thought they were going to edit the scene where Rusty picks up the girl in the lederhosen, and they, if you know the movie, the scene I'm talking about. No, they showed it right there on IFC. I was a little shocked. And there's Clark W. Griswold, on stage dancing with the German men at Oktoberfest, and they're swinging the big mugs of beer. And I said to my wife, I said, they're going to trade that for the call to prayer one day. She said, what do you mean? I said, well, with the import of the migrants and the savagery they're bringing, they are not going to stop at just entering the country. The country is going to be unable to adapt them to society. They're going to find themselves adapting to the savagery, which means they're not going to be allowed to have these outdoor festivals in some of these small hamlets anymore. It offends the migrants. Drinking in public, women and men dancing. Have you ever seen the St. Pauli girl? That's not going to be allowed anymore. It's a cultural offense to the newcomers. And what the Europeans are doing is trading citizenry, sovereignty, and their culture for an open-bordered, multicultural, global citizenry. Which is to say they're getting run over from the outside. You cannot bring all that is there to here without here becoming there. There's another disturbing issue with this. Headline, Washington Free Beacon, Elizabeth Harrington. Huge increase in girls victimized by genital mutilation. I don't know why I'm tripping over myself now. Crack my knuckles. Genital mutilation in U.S., 513,000 women at risk or already victims, a threefold jump since 1990. Man, the party of women and girls, where the nominee of the Democratic Party looked out to an ocean of young women and said, this could be you. I want you to listen to this. With all their political correctness and all their care about women and girls, and of course we can assimilate mass waves of migrants from the Middle East. An estimated 513,000 women and girls are at risk or have already been been subjected to female genital mutilation in the United States, with the number skyrocketing due to increased immigration from countries in the Middle East and North Africa where the practice is common. The State Department considers female genital mutilation, the partial or total removal of the female genitalia for no medical reason, to be a form of gender-based violence. The practice is illegal in the United States. The number of girls suffering from female genital mutilation has tripled in the U.S. since 1990, according to a report released by the Government Accountability Office on Monday. The government places the blame on increased immigration from majority Muslim nations where female genital mutilation is commonplace. We haven't been able to stop it because we dare not discuss culture. We dare not discuss religion. We dare not discuss values. It offends people because to condemn this, again, is to condemn the whole Islamic world. So right now, our government is looking the other way because they dare not offend our newfound sense of multiculturalism. I can only imagine what is taking place in Europe right now. The CDC attributes this change primarily to increased immigration from countries where female genital mutilation is practiced. Rather than the increase in occurrences, agency estimates were not able to distinguish between those who have already been subjected or those who are at risk. The report also noted there have been exceedingly few investigations into female genital mutilation in the United States because it generally goes unreported. Really? None of these girls are turning up at hospitals? Bleeding? It just heals itself magically? And if there are doctors who are treating it, why aren't they reporting it? Well, female genital mutilation is a crime under federal and many state laws. Law enforcement officials identified few investigations and prosecutions related to FGMC, the report said. Officials said this may be due in part to underreporting. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials had no criminal investigation into the practice, despite identifying at least 25 individuals in immigration court proceedings who were suspected of assistance in the perpetration of FGMC. So we know there are people involved in this, and we aren't doing anything about it. 98% of women and girls in Somalia have said they've undergone FGMC. Other countries with high rates of the practice include Guinea, Mali, Egypt, and Sudan. The State Department has done little to invest in fighting the practice abroad, despite its recognition of FGMC as gender-based violence. Wait. You're telling me that the Secretary of State, who places high priority on the rights of women and girls, never brought this issue up with any of these countries? Not once? Are there any donors to the Clinton Global Initiative from any of these countries? You have to imagine there are. So we're not doing anything about this. We're actually importing it in a growing scale. But we can't talk about it because it offends people. It makes them Islamophobic. It makes them ethnocentric. Wyantec 695, Patriot 957-2874. Coming up next,